back to Lake Math random cooking videos. So apparently cooking this recipe is longer than I can actually fit in one class period. So I'm going to pre-cook some of this stuff at home and then cook some of it at the school and whatever. I'm going to end up having a guest cameraman, which we will introduce later. So this is happening apparently in my house instead of in a kitchen, cafeteria, school setting. Alright, so today we're going to be making lasagna. It's a little bit different than lasagna. Basically, the main difference is it is not Italian at all. So, I'm cooking a batch for my house and then a batch for the students, so I'm doubling up on everything. So you need one of these. That's just Velveeta. One of these, it's a pound of lasagna noodles. One of these, can rotel. One onion. One stick of butter. I don't know. You might need 2 sticks of butter. There's never too much butter. Normally it would be like a pound of Italian sausage and then 2 pounds of ground beef. But since I'm doubling up, this is 2, so whatever. And then I'm going to put about 3 jalapenos in there. So you would probably do, one and a half. I don't know. It depends on your spice preference, really. Me, personally, I want it spicier. I took a vote. My kids started eating spicy stuff, so I want to make it spicy. So I'm not even taking the seeds out of these things. If you want it less spicy, less jalapenos. If you want it less spicy, less seeds. If you want some spice, then you put the seeds and you put the jalapenos in. Since we're doing this at the house, there will be sounds from kids, wives, and dogs. Well, plural or singular on all those, but anyway. Alright, so I'm going to start by chopping an onion, chopping up some jalapenos, and then I'll get back to y'all in a minute, because my cameraman just ran off. Alright. So see, it says recording right there?
Rec.
Yeah. Rec means you're recording video, okay?
Yeah, rec is short for record.
Now, I want to introduce you guys to our guest cameraman, Mr. Wyatt Lake. He is our guest camera operator, and he's going to be recording as we prepare things. Always tell me when we're recording. We don't want Daddy saying silly stuff when it's, we don't want a record of everything. Alright, so I do not like to actually wash dishes, so a lot of times we use the paper plates as our cutting board. Less dishes. I got kids, wife, chores, stuff to do. We've already chopped up all the jalapenos. I did not take the seeds out, which will make it spicier, but my kid has decided he likes spicy things now. Students voted for spicy. We're going spicy. I have my own style of cutting. It doesn't look like the cooking shows for sure. I just kind of give it a chop that way. Give it a chop that way. Really, it doesn't matter what size on the onions. You just want them roughly the same size. Whatever your preference is. If you like bigger chunks of onion, that's fine. Now this recipe, we're actually going to use like a record-setting small amount of butter. Normally, I just throw pounds of butter and stuff. But this one, we've got salsa and queso and meat juice and all that. So we've already got a lot of liquid in this recipe. So I'm not going to put as much butter as usual because there's already a lot of fluids in this. Alright, so that's good. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to throw 1 stick of butter in my meat dish. We've got 2 pans here, one's for the meat, one's for the queso. So I'm going to throw a stick of butter in each. cook it low enough that it's not actually going to burn the butter. So on my stove, that's one setting, but you should know what your setting is for the burn rate of butter. As for the music in the background, may or may not be copyright infringement, but if I'm cooking a Latin-inspired dish, I like to have some Latin-inspired music, and I really like Buena Vista Social Club, so we have that in the background. It's on Pandora, so they might actually start playing ads or something. Hopefully they stick to actually playing the band that I asked for. Alright, so as the butter melts, I need to start opening my rotel. I've already chopped my vegetables. Now, in the previous queso recipe, I actually drained the rotel because we had the butter and the sausage grease. And in this one, I'm not putting meat in the queso because I'm cooking the meat separately. So I'm not actually draining my rotel this time. I just bought this can opener because our can opener is kind of crummy. And apparently this one is too. It doesn't believe in working. Maybe? Ah, there it is. Alright. Success. Alright, so like I said earlier, I'm doing a batch for the house and a batch for with the students, so I'm doubling up on everything. You would want to do 1 stick of butter and 1 stick of butter in yours. In my case, I'm doing 2 cans of rotel, but you would just do 1 can, 1 cheese. Now, the other thing that we're going to want to start, and this is something we'll have to start pretty quick. I want to wait till my butter's melted, because I don't want to burn anything on the bottom. I'm trying to spin my butter around, make sure my bottom is properly lubed up. We don't want an insufficiently lubed up one. I guess it helps if you turn on the correct burner. That's a good start. Yeah, make sure you turn on the correct burner. Alright, so I'm actually going to put my onions and my jalapenos in with the meat so that it simmers and sautés in the meat juices. That's really going to help putting the jalapenos in the meat juice. That meat juice is going to help spread that spice and flavor throughout the whole dish. And onions seem to cook about, I like how they cook when the meat's brown. So. Alright, let's see if we're ready over here. Alright, we're properly lubed up on both sides. So I'm going to throw all the vegetables in here where I'm putting the meat. Notice I use the top of the knife for scraping. I don't know, I was watching some sort of thing. It talked about how much you dull your knife by scraping blade side on the cutting board. This isn't even a cutting board, but I still use it. I also ended up just buying a knife sharpener because I got so tired of not being able to cut a tomato. Alright, we'll leave that there. I'm going to let these sit for a second, and then I'm going to throw all the meat in there. I'm going to take my rotel, and I'm going to throw that in my queso pot. And I'm going to let the rotel and the stick of butter heat up. The reason I want those to heat up is so that they can melt the queso. think that's good. So like I said, you would usually do like 2 pounds of the beef and 1 pound of the Italian sausage. But since I'm doing a double, I did 4 and 2. And you can get Italian sausage in the links, but if your grocery store is nice, then they have the option for you to get it just already ground up and not in the stupid links. If they're in the links, then I like poke a hole in the end and have to squish all the sausage out of the tube, and that's annoying. I mean, it's doable, but it's annoying. Normally I try to get less grease and meat on my hands, but I don't want the little pads on the bottom ending up in my food, so getting more hands-on than I usually prefer to. You asked Mama not to lock us in. What did she do? She locked us in, dude. Alright, after handling raw meat, you always want to wash your hands. So off camera, I'm over here washing my hands because, you know, food safety and stuff.